Look at your hands for a second. Right now, in this very moment, you're holding a remote control that most people don't even know exists. But instead of using it to channel surf your own life, you're probably letting the world sit on the buttons. You wake up, the alarm blares like a siren, and your first instinct isn't to breathe, it's to hunt. You grab that glowing rectangle on your nightstand and start hunting for problems. You check the news to see why the world is ending. You check social media to see who's living a better life than you. And you check your emails to see who needs a piece of your soul before you've even had your coffee. By 7:15 am, you've already lost. You're stressed, you're reactive, and you're playing defense in a game you're supposed to be winning. What if I told you that the version of you that wins, the one who's actually crushing it and staying cool while everyone else is losing their minds, isn't born lucky? They just have a different morning ritual that has nothing to do with cold plunges or expensive supplements. It's a mental framework used by the most powerful people in history to build an invisible suit of armor before their feet even hit the floor. We're talking about a way of thinking so sharp it cuts through the noise of the modern world like a hot knife through butter. Think about your mind like a glass of clear water. Every time you check a notification or worry about a what if, it's like dropping a glob of black ink into that glass. By the time you're out the door, your vision is cloudy. You can't make good decisions because you can't see clearly. You're just vibrating at the frequency of everyone else's chaos. But there's a way to keep that water crystal clear, no matter how much ink the world tries to dump into it. There was this guy a long time ago. He wasn't a life coach or a YouTuber. He was the most powerful man on the planet, an emperor who had every reason to be stressed out. He had wars at his borders, a plague wiping out his people, and friends who were literally plotting to stab him in the back. If anyone had a right to wake up cranky, it was him. But he didn't. Instead, he sat down and wrote a note to himself. He told himself that the people he'd meet today would be difficult, selfish, and annoying. That sounds negative, right? It sounds like he's being a hater, but it was actually his superpower. By expecting the storm, he was the only one standing still when the wind started blowing. He wasn't surprised by the chaos, so the chaos couldn't touch him. Most of us do the opposite. We wake up hoping for a good day. We hope the traffic is light. We hope the boss is happy. We hope our partner is in a good mood. We're basically gambling with our happiness. We're putting our joy in the hands of a stranger in a Honda Civic who's about to cut us off on the highway. That is a terrible bet. Stoicism, which is really just a fancy word for mental toughness, teaches us to stop gambling. It teaches us that while we can't control the weather, we can absolutely control how we dress for it. Right now, your brain is in a state that scientists call theta. It's that dreamlike fuzzy zone where you're half awake and half asleep. In this state, your subconscious mind is wide open. It's like wet cement. Whatever you drop into it in these first few minutes is going to harden and stay there all day. If you drop in anxiety, you're going to be anxious. If you drop in strength, you're going to be a rock. Most people spend these precious minutes Pavloving themselves into a state of panic. They are literally training their brains to be stressed. We're going to do the exact opposite. We're going to perform a system override on your hardware. We are going to look at the 3 biggest lies you tell yourself every morning and replace them with truths that make you feel like you're playing life on easy mode, even when things get hard. Because the truth is, the world doesn't care about your plans. It's going to try to break you. It's going to try to distract you. But once you learn how to prime your mind, You become the one thing the world can't mess with, a person who is truly free. The first lie you've been sold is that you need to feel motivated to get things done. We've all been there. You're lying under the covers, it's warm, the room is cold, and you're waiting for some magical spark of inspiration to strike so you can finally get out of bed. You're waiting for a feeling. But here's the cold, hard truth that the highest achievers in the world know. Feelings are unreliable narrators. They are like weather patterns in the Midwest. If you don't like them, just wait 10 minutes. They'll change. If you base your life on how you feel in the morning, you are letting a biological chemical spike dictate your destiny. The Stoics had a much better way. They didn't care about feeling like a hero, they cared about acting like one. Think of your mind like a ship. Your feelings are the waves, tossing you up and down, making you feel sick or excited. But your will? That's the rudder. The waves can be as big as they want, but as long as the rudder is set, the ship goes where it's supposed to go. When you wake up, and the first thing you think is, "I don't feel like it," you have to realize that you aren't the one talking. That's just your comfort-seeking lizard brain trying to keep you safe and stagnant. The ancient world called this apatheia, but not in the way we use the word apathy today. It didn't mean being a cold, emotionless robot. It meant having a soul that is so well fortified that external nonsense can't get inside. It's the ability to see a feeling, acknowledge it, and then do the work anyway. It's saying, "I see that I'm tired, I see that I'm annoyed, but I'm getting up because that's what a person like me does." This is the shift from being a victim of your mood to being the master of your character. When you start your day by choosing action over emotion, you're sending a massive signal to your subconscious. You're telling yourself, "I am the boss here." This builds a level of self-trust that money can't buy. Imagine how much more confident you'd be if you knew, with 100% certainty, that your body would do what your mind told it to do, regardless of the vibes. That is true power. That is the 1-minute reset. It's the moment you stop negotiating with yourself. You don't argue with the alarm clock. You don't debate with the snooze button. You treat your morning commitments like a contract signed in blood. But why is this so hard? Because we've been programmed to seek the path of least resistance. Our modern world is designed to make us soft. Everything is on demand, everything is cushioned, everything is frictionless. But friction is exactly what creates heat, and heat is what forges steel. Every time you do something because it's right, rather than because it's easy, you are adding a layer of armor to your psyche. Let's look at another lie, the idea that your peace depends on things going your way. This is the biggest trap in the American psyche. We think, "I'll be happy once I get that promotion," or "I'll be calm once my kids start listening," or "I'll be at peace once my bank account hits a certain number." You are essentially telling the universe, "I give you permission to hurt me until these specific conditions are met." You're handing over your power to things you can't control. Stoicism flips the script. It says your peace is an internal fortress. If the walls are strong, it doesn't matter if there's a riot outside. You keep your inner citadel locked tight. This means you stop checking the world's temperature to see how you should feel. Instead, you set the thermostat yourself. When you wake up, you don't ask, "What is the world going to give me today?" You ask, "What am I going to bring to the world today?" One is the mindset of a beggar. The other is the mindset of a king. Think about the most stressful thing you have to do today. Maybe it's a difficult conversation, a massive project, Or just dealing with that one coworker who always knows how to push your buttons. Usually, we spend our morning dreading that moment. We let it ruin our breakfast. We let it poison our shower. We're suffering before the thing even happens. The Stoic move is to look at that challenge and say, "This is exactly what I trained for." It's like an athlete looking at a heavy weight. They don't complain that the weight is heavy. They're glad it's heavy, because that's how they get stronger. The third lie we're fed daily is that we need to be positive. Now, I know that sounds crazy. Every self-help guru on the planet is screaming at you to manifest good vibes and think happy thoughts. But here's the problem. Forced positivity is just a mask for fragility. If you're only okay when things are good, you're one bad phone call away from a total breakdown. You're essentially building your house on sand and acting surprised when the tide comes in. The Stoics practiced something much more powerful, something that sounds a bit dark at first, but is actually the ultimate hack for bulletproof confidence. It's called Premeditatio Malorum, or the premeditation of evils. Instead of waking up and manifesting a perfect day where everything goes right, you take 30 seconds to imagine everything going wrong. Imagine your car doesn't start. Imagine your boss is in a terrible mood. Imagine you lose that deal you've been working on for months. Why would you do this? Because when you visualize the worst-case scenario in the safety of your own mind, you strip away its power. Fear lives in the unknown. It lives in the what-if. But when you look that what-if right in the eyes while you're still in your pajamas, it loses its teeth. You realize that even if the worst happens, you're still you. You're still standing. You still have your character, your mind, and your ability to choose your next move. Think of it like a vaccine. You're injecting a tiny, controlled dose of the virus, the stress, the failure, the frustration, so that when the real thing hits you in the wild, your system already knows how to fight it. You don't panic because you've already been there. While everyone else is running around like a chicken with its head cut off because things didn't go according to plan, you're just nodding your head. You're thinking, yes, I remember you. I was expecting you. This is how you stop being fragile and start becoming anti-fragile. A fragile object, like a glass vase, breaks when it's dropped. A resilient object, like a rubber ball, stays the same. But an anti-fragile object actually gets better when it's stressed, like a muscle that needs to be torn down to grow back stronger, or a fire that consumes everything you throw at it to burn brighter. When you use this morning reset, you aren't just surviving the day, you're using every obstacle as fuel for your own growth. Most people spend their energy trying to prevent bad things from happening. That's a losing battle. The world is too big, too chaotic, and too indifferent to your plans. The real winner spends their energy building a mind that can handle anything that happens. It's the difference between trying to pave the entire world with leather so it doesn't hurt your feet, or just putting on a pair of boots. The morning reset is you putting on your boots. Let's get real for a second. We're living in an age of comfort addiction. We have high-speed internet, and food delivered to our doors in 30 minutes. We've become so used to comfort that even a small inconvenience feels like a personal attack. If the Wi-Fi is slow for 5 minutes, we act like it's a human rights violation. This comfort trap makes us weak. It makes us easy to manipulate and easy to break. The morning secret isn't about being a tough guy or acting like you don't have feelings. It's about realizing that your comfort is a cage. When you stop fearing discomfort, the cage doors swing wide open. You start taking risks. You start speaking your truth. You start living the life you actually want instead of the life that's safest. You realize that the things you were afraid of, the judgment of others, the possibility of failure, the what will they think, are just ghosts. And ghosts can't hurt you unless you believe in them. Now, let's talk about the most valuable thing you own. It's not your car, your phone, or the money in your bank account. It's your attention. Every single morning, there is a billion-dollar industry designed specifically to hijack your attention before you've even rubbed the sleep out of your eyes. Algorithms are working overtime to figure out exactly what makes you angry, what makes you jealous, and what makes you click. When you hand over your first 30 minutes of the day to a screen, you aren't just checking the news. You're letting a corporation rent space in your head for free. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said that if someone gave your body away to any passerby, you'd be furious. So why aren't you ashamed that you give over your mind to anyone who happens to trigger you? Every time you react to a clickbait headline or a snarky comment, you're letting a stranger pull your strings like a puppet. The morning reset is about cutting those strings. It's about deciding that your mind is a private sanctuary, and today the gate is closed to anyone who didn't bring something useful. Think of your attention like a flashlight in a dark room. Most people are waving that light around wildly, looking at the trash in the corner, the dust on the floor, or the shadows on the wall. They're exhausted because they're looking at everything and seeing nothing. The Stoic master focuses that beam into a laser. They choose one or two things that actually matter: their work, their family, their character, and they ignore the rest. This isn't just productivity advice. This is a survival strategy for the 21st century. There's a concept called cognitive load. Your brain only has a certain amount of bandwidth each day. Every decision you make, what to wear, what to eat, which email to answer first, drains that battery. If you spend your morning scrolling through 1,000 different opinions and images, you're starting your workday with a 20% battery. No wonder you feel burnt out by 2 p.m. You didn't burn out because the work was too hard. You burnt out because you wasted your mental fuel on things that don't move the needle. That's why this 1-minute reset is so lethal. It forces you to ask one simple, brutal question: is this within my control? If you look at your to-do list, or the weather, or the economy, and the answer is no, then the Stoic response is to give it 0% of your emotional energy. You acknowledge it exists, sure, but you don't care about it. You save that precious energy for the things where you actually have a vote. Imagine how much lighter you'd feel if you dropped the weight of the world's problems and just focused on being a decent, effective human being today. You'd have so much more horsepower for your own goals. You'd be the calmest person in the room because you've realized that 99% of the things people worry about are just noise. You start to move with a kind of quiet urgency. You're not rushing, but you're not wasting time either. You're like a sniper, one shot, one kill. You know exactly what you're here to do, and you don't let the meddling, ungrateful, and arrogant people the emperor talked about slow you down. But here's the kicker: this doesn't happen by accident. You have to build a firewall around your morning. You have to be aggressive about your peace. People might call you intense or different. Let them. They're the ones scrolling their lives away while you're building an empire. They're the ones reacting while you're responding. They're the ones living by default while you're living by design. When you master your attention, you master your life. Because your life is ultimately just the sum of what you paid attention to. If you pay attention to drama, you have a dramatic life. If you pay attention to growth, you have a successful life. The reset is you taking the wheel and pointing the car in the right direction before the engine even warms up. It's the realization that you don't find a good day, you create one by refusing to let the world distract you from what's real. One of the biggest traps we fall into every morning is the comparison coma. You wake up, you're feeling okay, and then you see it. A photo of someone from high school on a private jet, or a peer winning an award, or even just someone at the gym who looks perfect. Within 60 seconds, your brain has decided that you are behind in life. You start your day feeling like you're already losing a race you never signed up for. The Stoics had a word for this kind of thinking, and they didn't mince words. They called it slavery. If your self-worth depends on being better than the guy next door, you aren't free. You're a prisoner of his success. You've handed him the keys to your happiness and told him, keep these until you decide I've done enough. The morning reset is about taking those keys back. It's about realizing that the only person you are competing with is the version of you that stayed in bed 5 minutes too long yesterday. Think about a horse in a race. Do you see the winner looking left and right to see where the other horses are? No. They wear blinders. They are focused entirely on their own lane, their own breath, and the finish line. When you look at what someone else has, you're looking at their highlight reel while you're living your behind the scenes. It's an unfair comparison that serves no purpose other than to make you miserable and slow you down. Seneca, another heavy hitter in the Stoic world, used to say that we suffer more often in imagination than in reality. Most of that suffering comes from the stories we tell ourselves about where we should be. I should be making more money. I should be in better shape. I should be further along. These shoulds are like stones in your backpack. By the time you get to work, you're exhausted from carrying the weight of a life you don't even have. The reset is simple. Drop the backpack. Today, your only job is to be on your game. If you're a janitor, be the best janitor that building has ever seen. If you're a CEO, lead with more integrity than you did yesterday. If you're a student, focus on one page at a time. Stoicism teaches us that success isn't a destination, it's the quality of your actions in the present moment. If you do the right thing, in the right way, right now, you've already won. The results, the money, the fame, the likes are just the side effects. This shift in perspective changes the energy of your entire morning. Instead of waking up with scarcity, the feeling that there isn't enough success to go around, you wake up with abundance. You realize that someone else's win doesn't mean your loss. In fact, you don't even have time to worry about them because you're too busy perfecting your own craft. You start to feel a sense of quiet confidence. You don't need to brag, you don't need to post about your grind, and you don't need validation from strangers. You know what you're worth because you're doing the work. This is the secret of the greats. They aren't obsessed with the scoreboard, they are obsessed with the process. They know that if they take care of the now, the later takes care of itself. When you stop comparing, you stop rushing. And when you stop rushing, you stop making mistakes. You become deliberate. You become dangerous to your competition because you aren't playing their game, you're playing yours. Ask yourself, if social media disappeared tomorrow and no one could see what you were doing, would you still want to achieve your goals? If the answer is yes, then you're on the right track. If the answer is no, then you aren't chasing a dream, you're chasing an ego stroke. The morning reset is the time to check your why. It's the moment you align your actions with your actual values, not the values of an algorithm designed to keep you scrolling. Now let's get into the part that most people are too scared to think about, especially before they've had their breakfast. It's the ultimate pattern interrupt. The Stoics had a practice called Memento Mori, literally, remember that you will die. I know. It sounds like a total buzzkill. Why would you want to think about the end of the road when you're just trying to start your Tuesday? But here's the secret. Thinking about the finish line is the only way to make sure you actually run the race. Most of us live as if we have an infinite supply of mornings. We think we'll have time to start that business eventually. We'll apologize to that friend later. We'll start being the person we want to be when things settle down. But here's a reality check. Things never settle down. The world will keep spinning, the emails will keep coming, and one day the sun will come up and you won't be there to see it. When you wake up and realize that today is a gift and not a guarantee, your perspective shifts instantly. All the small petty things that usually ruin your morning, the cold coffee, the traffic, the annoying text, suddenly seem hilarious. You realize you're too busy being alive to be offended. You stop sweating the small stuff because you realize that, in the grand scheme of things, almost everything is small stuff. This isn't about being morbid, it's about being urgent. It's about taking that someday version of yourself and bringing him into the right now. When you look at your life through the lens of your own mortality, you gain a superpower clarity. You stop saying yes to people and projects that drain your soul. You stop worrying about the opinions of people you don't even like. You start living with a kind of fierce intentionality that most people only find in their final moments. Imagine you were told that this was your last 24 hours. How would you treat the people around you? How much effort would you put into your work? Would you spend 40 minutes arguing with a stranger on the internet? Of course not. You'd be present. You'd be kind. You'd be effective. The morning reset is about bringing that last day energy into every single day. This creates a sense of profound gratitude. Instead of waking up and thinking, I have to go to work, you start thinking, I get to go to work. Instead of I have to deal with my family, it's I get to see my family. You stop treating your life like a chore and start treating it like a privilege. This shift in mindset is the difference between a life of quiet desperation and a life of vibrant purpose. The Stoics weren't trying to be depressing. They were trying to wake us up. They knew that the greatest tragedy isn't death. It's never truly living. It's spending your whole life in a daze, reacting to external stimuli, chasing shadows, and never taking the wheel. By remembering your end, you finally give your life a beginning. You stop being a spectator in your own story and start being the lead actor. So, as you're finishing your morning routine, take 5 seconds to realize that your heart is beating without you even asking it to. You are a biological miracle standing on a rock flying through space. You have been given another shot at the game. Don't waste it being average. Don't waste it being angry. Don't waste it being someone else. Use this reset to lock in your purpose. Remind yourself that time is the only thing you can never get back, and then go out and spend it like it's the most precious currency on earth. Because it is. So, how do we actually pull the trigger on this? Knowing isn't the same as doing. You can watch all the videos in the world and read every philosophy book on the shelf, but if you don't apply the 1-minute reset, you're just a collector of ideas. To truly change the trajectory of your life, you have to turn these concepts into a reflex. It starts the moment your eyes open tomorrow. When that first thought creeps in, the one about your to-do list, the news or your ex, you need to see it for what it is: a test. This is your training ground. You don't need a mountain top or a silent retreat. You just need the space between your alarm going off and your feet hitting the floor. In that 60-second window, you reclaim your kingdom. You acknowledge the chaos. You expect the difficulty. You ignore the distractions, and you remember that your time is ticking. You decide, right then and there, that you are going to be the master of your own mind. You aren't going to have a good day. You're going to make one. Think about the version of you that exists a year from now. That version of you is either going to be exactly where you are today, stressed, reactive and tired, or they're going to be someone who moves through the world with a calm, unstoppable force. The only difference between those two people is the choices they made in the first few minutes of their mornings. Small wins lead to big wins. If you can win the first hour, you can win the day. If you can win the day, you can win your life. The world doesn't need more people who are busy. It needs more people who are intentional. It needs people who have found their center and refuse to be moved by the storm. When you practice this morning secret, you become a lighthouse. You aren't just helping yourself, you're showing everyone around you, your kids, your co-workers, your friends, what it looks like to be truly free. You become the person who stays cool when the pressure is on, the one who provides solutions instead of complaints, and the one who actually enjoys the ride. This is the path of the modern Stoic. It's not about retreating from the world, it's about engaging with it more deeply, because you aren't afraid of it anymore. You've done the work, you've built the armor, you've set the rudder. Now, all that's left is to sail. Don't let another morning slip through your fingers. Don't let the meddling and ungrateful voices of the world dictate your worth. You are the architect of your own character, and the blueprint is drawn in the early hours of the morning. As you head out into the world today, carry this silence with you. When things get loud, come back to that 1-minute reset. Remind yourself that you already decided how you were going to handle this. You've already won, because you didn't let the world break your spirit before you even got started. You are stronger than you think, more capable than you feel, and you have everything you need to dominate this day. If you found value in this mental blueprint and want to continue building that internal fortress, make sure to like this video and share it with someone who needs a wake-up call. Don't forget to subscribe to Stoic Origin to join our community of modern warriors. We're all in this race together, but it's time you started running yours on your own terms. Now, get out there and show the world what a focused mind can really do. The day is yours. Don't give it away.